Hey guys, coming up in this video we have some golf cart batteries by LiTime. This is the GC2 group style battery. Now what this means is that these are the exact same size as the original batteries in a golf cart. You literally pull those ones out, drop these ones in, put your tie down bolts on, and that's it. You're good to go. So let's take a look at these batteries and I'll explain a little bit more how to run them and how to install them, and we're going to do a capacity test as well as I want to open up one of these batteries. As you can see by this icon right here, LTCP, this means it has low temperature charging protection, which is amazing. All of these have Bluetooth, so you can connect to each individual one. Now each one of these batteries by itself is 51.2 volts, which means you're going to hook them up into parallel, which means positive to positive to positive to cart positive, and then negatives to negatives, and then to the cart negative. You do not hook these up in series like your golf cart batteries are. Typically you'll be using like a 6, an 8, or maybe even a 12 volt lead acid battery in your golf cart, and you're going to want to hook them up in series in order to get your voltage to run the cart. These do not have to do that. If you have a 48 volt cart, you can literally take one of these batteries, positive to the cart positive, negative to the negative, and that's it. You're good to go. But if you want more amp hour capacity to get a longer range, you're going to want to parallel some of these up. My suggestions for these batteries for the 30 amp hour, if you're, let's say, in Florida and you're relatively flat ground, like in a residential kind of an area, or maybe you're at like a, let's say, a trailer park or recreational type park where it's relatively flat ground, I would say you could get away with 2 of these batteries, no issues. If, however, you want to do more hill climbing, more kind of off-road style with your cart, now remember these are golf carts, so you're not going to be doing really rough all-terrain type driving, but if you're going to have more hills, I would suggest doing 3 of these batteries to get the amp surge to get up those hills. So 3 for those and 2 just for, you know, puttering around your park or whatever. So with each of these batteries, you do get a start guide. This is going to get you up and running. So what we get is we get the product manual. This is going to give you all type of great information. We have just a general life and discover manual. This is just going to have different products that they sell, so all their different battery ranges. We also get a service card, so start date and then order number. You're going to want to put this on here and then file this away. And we get different ways on how to hook up the batteries, and you also get some stickers with this bearded guy. With each battery, you get some M8 bolts with a lock washer and a washer. Now I have already been playing around with these. If you are doubling up a connection, so when you're going from one to the other and you have 2 lugs on one, you can get away with just the bolt itself. But if you are just connecting one to the post, then they also include a washer to take up some space. So you're going to want to install the washer and then install the lug onto the battery to ensure a tight connection. We also get some caps in order just to protect the top of the bolts once they're installed, so that you don't accidentally drop something and you get metal contact from positive to negative, which these would have surge protection, but still you want to avoid that at all costs. LiTime also sells a charger for these batteries, and this is the waterproof charger. This is an 18 amp charger, and what's great about it being waterproof is that you can mount it outside the cart on the wall, and then you can run this cable over to this cable and just install this onto your cart, and that way when you pull up you can just plug this one wire in. Or my favorite way of hooking these up, because this is waterproof, you can just install it right on your cart and then use any old extension cord, as long as it's a 14 gauge cord. Install this directly onto the cart, bolt this directly onto the cart, and then what I've done in the past is I've just simply got a AC short connection. You can buy these on Amazon, and what it is it's just a plug receptacle, and then you plug this into the charger that's already hooked in underneath in your battery compartment out of the way, and you can just plug in a standard extension cord. No more proprietary connections, no more having to lug your charger around in case you would like to charge up on the go. So really nice. Oh, and another thing about this charger, which is amazing. So if you look at the size of this, this is 18 amp charger. Now I'm going to show you, this is another golf cart charger. This is a 15 amp charger, so less amps, and the size difference is amazing. LiTime got a really good charger for their package here that you can buy on their website. I actually might buy another one of these just to have around the shop. But I really like this charger. Okay, so these batteries measure in at 10 inches. Looks like 6 15/16 or 7 inches. And our height is 10 3/4 or 10 1/2 to the top of the case, but 10 3/4 to the top of the battery lug. And when you're mounting these batteries, they're going to be at their side like this. And then we're going to have them situated something like this here. So right there, that's going to be 90 amp hours. And our total length at 90 amp hours is going to be 21 inches. So think about that right there alone. You have your 90 amp hours. Then you also have room to install your charger beside that on your battery carriage. Mine is set up so it's in a straight line. Okay, now let's run through how to hook these up again, just to make sure everybody is aware. So I'll leave links to these battery cables. I think LiTime is going to start providing these, but for current filming, they do not supply the battery cables. So what you're going to do is, because we're going to have a single lug at the end, I'm going to put a washer on there. And then I'm going to go from negative to negative. And then on my final negative, I'm going to add the charging cable. So what I want to do is have the battery lug first, and then the charging cable second, and then tighten all these up. And then I'm going to repeat the process for the positive. So just connecting all the positives together. Now on this first cable here, I'm going to add my washer. Okay, and there is a 48 volt 90 amp hour pack. Now for the cart positive and negative, you can either run the positive off this side or this side and then do the opposite, so either this side or this side. Personally, I'd probably keep the battery charging cables on one side and then cart negative and cart positive on this side, just to kind of keep everything kind of balanced and a little bit of OCD in there. But right there, that is perfect. Cart positive, cart negative, good to go. Okay, now let's take a look at the app. So once you go in, you just sign up and then you connect to each battery. So I have all 3 batteries here, and you can see I've already pre-charged them. You can click on the Bluetooth logo at the top right. Sometimes it takes a couple tries. So you can see there, Bluetooth connected. Now it's saying 100%, and you can go in and you can see right now what it's doing. It's just on standby. But you get the watts readout, the current readout, voltage readout, capacity readout. And then what's really nice is you can see here we have balancing, so everything is balanced up. You can get your cells, so the cells are all normal, and the BMS, everything is functioning normal. And then you can also change different things. You can change the name of the battery if you would like, put like 1, 2, and 3, or whatever you'd like to do. And then this is the other battery we just swiped over. So up at the top right, you can see a Bluetooth logo. We'll click that. And then we want to switch connections. And sometimes it takes a couple tries. There we go. Now this one is saying 100% because we are now connected to the second battery. And we can swipe over to the last one. Yeah, we'll try that again. And there we go. We are now connected. Now I did notice, you can see at the bottom there's a lightning bolt and then a battery. So we'll click on the battery. Now I've already set this up and it doesn't seem to be working properly just yet. I think LiTime is still working on this part, but hopefully this screen here will give you all three batteries connected together, and it'll give you the whole entire voltage and the amps of all three packs and the remaining amp hours of all three packs again. You can see there we do have two. Oh, and there it goes. While I was actually discussing it, it refreshed. Okay, I can see a refresh time at the bottom there. Let's hit refresh now. Yeah, I don't think you'll get a continuous. It'll just refresh. Looks like every 30 seconds maybe. So probably every 30 seconds it's going to refresh and tell you at that captured time what it's doing. So you can see actually remaining amp hour is 90, so that's perfect. Let's do a capacity test on just one of these cells, and then we'll do a teardown on one as well to see what the insides look like and see what we're working with. Okay, and I'm all set up here to do my discharge test. So I'm going to pre-charge the capacitors and click on my tester. Now it's going to take me a few minutes to find the optimal load. I'm thinking maybe somewhere around 10 amps out of the battery, which will be a good test. Okay, we are just under 10 amps. So I'm just going to let this test run. You can see at the bottom left, you can see our amp hour counter there. So let's see by the end of this test if we get over 30 amp hours or not. And I'll be back when that's done. And the discharge test is concluded, and we have 30.354 amp hours out of the 30 amp hour. This is a pass, but the inverter is the one that actually disconnected, not the battery. I feel like I could have got more energy out of the battery if my inverter would have allowed me to go down on the voltage a little more. So this test is a pass. Let's open it up and see what the build quality looks like. All right, and I cracked it open. So here we have the lid where we have the positive terminal and the negative terminal. And we have a single conductor which has shrink wrap right over top of this like fire protection sleeve. So I can't get to it unless I cut those fire protection sleeves off. And we have a 6-gauge wire coming from the positive terminal. And we can see here we have a hydraulically crimped lug onto the positive post, which is real nice to see. That is a hydraulically crimped lug. We have a couple of foam spacers here. This is just to take up the space to keep the battery pack down. And as you can see down here, we're using lithium iron phosphate cylindrical cells. So let's see if we can't get this out so we can take a closer look at the cells that they're using. Okay, and I have the case open. So this is the empty box here for the battery. And this is a nice piece of engineering. So I can see here that this plate is holding the bottom of the cells. This is the bottom of the rods here. So if I flip this over, yeah, we can see here we have some threaded rods that go through that hold these two plates on. That's holding these cell holders for these cells. Oh wow, I've never seen a cell like that. Look at this cell. This is one complete cell here. And this is one massive long cell. I've never seen a cell like this. Normally they're about half the size, but this is just a single cell. And that's straight through. It's not like they've put heat shrink over two cells. That's one continuous cell. That is neat. You can see all our balance lead cables come down, and they're all nice and attached to their individual cell pack that they need to be attached to. I'm going to take a picture of this cell if you guys want to do a little research on it. So that is the cell there. I'll put that up on the screen. So how many of these do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, we're missing a couple over here. So that is 6 down here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is just a piece of foam here, just to take up the space. And you can see we have an isolator here So this is where the actual negative is coming off the battery, and that connects into the B- side of this BMS, and then it comes out on the P negative side, which comes up to the battery negative. And the positive just runs right over to here on this positive. We also have a positive wire coming down to the BMS itself. And this is a LiTime BMS. You can see here we have a LiTime BMS. This is ZYBT16S 100 amp. And then we have a 16S and some Chinese lettering, and 100 and 100. So I'm guessing 100 amp charge and 100 amp discharge. And here is the serial number. And if we take a closer look, you can see here we have all of the temperature sensors. So we have temperature sensor 1, temperature sensor 2, temperature sensor 3. So there's 3 temperature sensors on this BMS. And then here's all the individual balance lead cable connections. And over here, this is going to be for the Bluetooth dongle. So that I'll show you in a second. I got to roll the battery over. And you can see here it looks like NTC. We have another port here for a temperature sensor. But I guess they don't need it because 3 is going to be more than enough. So that is really beautiful looking BMS. You can see the FETs in there. So that's all nice. Everything looks really good on this BMS. And this right here is where the Bluetooth module is. And I can see underneath here one of the temperature sensors. The other temperature sensors are buried in behind the epoxy board, because we have epoxy board for separation from this metal plate on the front and back. So no doubt they have the other temperature probes. Like here's one that comes down here, and it looks like it's buried in between the cells, exactly where it needs to be. And I can't see any more, so they are probably running. Oh, there's one right down in here. Okay, so one of the sensors goes down into the board on the BMS, and then the third one here is up top. So I think the easiest one I can get to for my test is going to be this one here up top. So that is really nice too that they've used cylindrical cells, because with cylindrical cells you have more options as far as mounting. You can do 160 degree any way, up, down, side to side. With the prismatic cells you're actually kind of limited on your mounting, because you never want to mount either with the vent facing down or with the cells on their sides. So the fact that they have this with cylindrical cells is really smart for a golf cart battery, which is going to be banging around and jostled, and I think that's enough of the sensor there that I can get my cold pack onto it. Okay, I'm going to get set up for a cold temperature test. I'll be right back. 5 amps going into the battery. Now let's replicate a cold weather scenario. Now this may take a few minutes to register through the BMS, so I'll give it a few minutes and see what happens. And there we go, we have cold temperature protection. So the BMS disconnected to save the cells, and we warmed it back up, and now the charging has commenced. Okay, I brought up the app here. Now let's see what it looks like on the app when we have a cold temperature protection event. Now you can see their temperature 36 degrees. That is probably coming off of one of the other temperature sensors, not the one I'm actually cooling. Would have been nice if they actually had each temperature sensor individually labeled. So maybe in the future. Oh, there we go. And it says standby in the app. Okay, so we don't have any identifier. Oh, we have a BMS. Oh, there we go, under protection, low temperature protection. Okay, so under the BMS, it shows that the BMS has disconnected. Okay, now we're charging, and everything is normal. Okay, so that's kind of neat. I would, however, like to see the individual temperature sensors listed. So here I just noticed something on the app that's a really nice feature. So if we go to the 3 lines at the bottom, you can see here we have a discharge switch. So if I turn that off, it's not going to allow the battery to discharge. So it's like a safety feature. That is cool. Anyways, let's try high heat on that temperature sensor and see if it disconnects. Yep, there we go. We have disconnected. So we have low and high temperature protection, which has been verified. Cool this back down and see if charging will commence. Yep, and charging has commenced. So we have low, high temperature protection, which is perfect. Okay, so that is going to wrap it up for this battery on this video. I am going to install this battery. I'm actually not going to install it into a golf cart. I have my eye on a UTV that is a Polaris electric. So I'm going to see if I can pick that up, and if I can, I'm going to put these batteries inside of it and take it off-roading and see what it can do. If not, if I don't purchase that item, then I'll put it in my golf cart and we'll take it out for a spin. Either way, I'm going to get some good use out of these batteries, and I will keep you guys informed on how they do. As always, thank you very much for watching this video. Please leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.